Anti-Society, welcome back to the Antisocial Planet, and today we are finally checking out Dreamcatcher's The Tree of Language. This has been one of the ones people have been wanting me to check out for so long, and I've wanted to check out for so long. Some of the songs that I have heard so much hype about are on this album, and I'm super excited to get into it. However, that being said, I don't know how long this reaction is going to be, which is why we are going to split it up into two parts, because just to react to Scream, it took me an hour to film. So for this, we're gonna have two parts at least, and this part is gonna end with Black or White because I've heard a lot of good things about that one, and I'm not sure if I can go directly from the hype of that one into Jazz Bar, okay? For the sake of my mental health, I'm not seeing my therapist until tomorrow, so I gotta think this thing through. So we're going to separate at that point, okay? I hope everyone's all right with that, but super excited to get into this album and hear some of these songs that I've just had people recommend to me for so long, and I've had come up in my suggestions on my homepage on YouTube for over a year now, and I'm so excited to finally know what these songs are. So we're gonna start with the intro. All right, here we go. Intro, always a fun time. We get to see like an overview of what the album is gonna be sonically. Also the art. I always love the art for their albums, but there's something about this one. Maybe it's like the Tree of Life Celtic knot motif that's just hitting something for me. But I'm excited to see how the title, The Tree of Language, gets incorporated into the album. Let's check this out though. That sounds a little ominous. Ooh, it's almost like a crowd sample. I like that, like hollow sounding like synth. We're winding up on this side. Ooh, like shaker. Ooh, okay, I was like, we're gonna shake up at some point. Usually at the halfway point, they're like shift sonically somehow. Interesting. One, I love this mixture of almost these glitchy sounds and then these strings throughout. There's this, I was saying, hollow sounding, I don't know if it's percussion or if it's a synth, but it's interesting to have that hollow sound resonating throughout the track. Also, I don't know if this is intentional or anything, but they have this like wind up only on the left side of the mixing, which I only bring up because we have Tree of Language, right? I was saying maybe at some point I'm going to figure out why that's the name of the album. And I'm thinking with left in Latin, follow me on this, left in Latin is sinister. It's where we get the word sinister, and the connotation of sinister in modern English is when something unsettling is happening, or you can feel the anticipation of something unsettling about to happen. So the fact that we have that wind up that has that ominous sinister feel to it in specifically the left side of the mixing, coincidence? Maybe. Could also be that is part of what they were trying to do. I don't know too if it was just having it on one side of the mixing to help with that ominous feeling, because it's like something is coming from one side of your head and instead of it being like balanced out, so there's something like unsettling in that too. Not sure, but so far very interesting sonically. The violins are very staccato too. Gorgeous piano. Ooh, and it's just piano now. It's like two, maybe? Oh. Almost like layered like MIDI sound. Is that the end? Hang on, I gotta go back. I have to hear that part again. It's like in the back, the like ghostly sound. Yeah, that sound there. Is that a synth or a voice sample? It sounds ghostly and haunting though, which again, adding to the sinister vibes of that. Makes me wonder what we're gonna end off the album with. They usually come for me at the end of the album, and I know that they can do haunting vocals. Interesting. There's lots of isolated parts of the production too. It feels like I talked about this in some of their more recent music about how they play a lot more with like space in between the different production elements, which is really interesting to me because I think that a lot of the time, especially with rock music, they focus on like the grandeur of it, and for Dreamcatcher they've had a lot of like theatric sounding music, so it has lots of layers of different instruments and it builds up into this huge wave of sound which has its own impact to it. But being able to play with empty space in a song is also super interesting. Like, how do you use silence or space in between the different elements to have a certain impact? And this felt very staccato, lots of isolated elements with space in between when those different pieces of the production were coming in, mixed in with these off-putting, unbalanced mixing of different things put into it as well. Okay, I was already excited for this album, but now I'm like, I feel like we're gonna be getting something special. All right, now we have Tension, which I definitely could feel that in the intro, so I'm a little bit worried about what this is going to entail. So look at the sparkly eye makeup. Like Xian's with almost like the tears. Pretty. Anyway, let's just see what they got for us. Oh. Okay, we're going rock and roll. Sure. Ooh, go off on the guitar. Ooh, okay. Don't we have Break the Wall, one of their songs? Love how we started with the guitars and the drums hitting to count us in to this one. Makes me feel like when we hit the chorus, it's gonna be something else. Love the idea of, what was the one lyric? Oh, like even a single miss is too big of a poison. This idea that you've built up this perfect image, and it means that there's even the slightest thing that doesn't go along with what that image is going to make everything crumble is interesting. And the don't stay trapped. So this could also be telling someone to not be trapped within the constraint of that persona that they've built. And I'm thinking of in Scream, where one of the big things that I took away from that was them saying that they were going to break the mold. They were going to do things that made people uncomfortable and that were ominous and that were going to defy the expectations of other people. The line of, I want to make you scream, right? This idea of, I want to have an impact. I want to make you feel something. If that means you are either screaming because you are now my fan, you are screaming along to a performance, or I'm making you scream because I'm doing something that is so out of pocket and yet so impactful that you have to engage with it. You have to have an opinion. You have to feel something because of it. And also this idea that you have to scream to be heard over top of all of the praise and admiration and success that they have. That idea, them saying don't stay trapped, could be talking to themselves of, we need to just break out of the mold and do what we want to do and play with the sounds that we want to play with. It could also be addressing other people, whether that's other people who also work in the music industry or just other people in general about life. It could also be like their fans of, I understand that you sometimes have to build an image for yourself that is very intentionally constructed, especially like in idol culture, but that doesn't mean that that is necessarily a safety net that a lot of people think it is, right? I think that a lot of people build certain personas to show the outside world because they think that is safer than being themselves. But it is one of those things where a single stone out of place in the foundation and suddenly everything comes crumbling down. So just interesting already. Ooh, its voice. Ooh, that's an interesting line too. Okay, we're gonna have to go back for Gayan's note. I didn't know we were gonna get a belt. Come on, girl. Also, I love the line of time stopped except for you, time flows busily. This idea that I'm thinking again of this persona of you building a specific person for yourself, or a specific version to show a mask. We had a lot of mask imagery in Scream as well. But this idea of you've stood still, in that time stopped, in that you've frozen who you are to fit this persona, to fit this mask. Externally, that's who you are, but then also time flows busily of like, there's still stuff happening around you, right? There's still things that are going on. It could also be like keeping yourself busy, almost as a distraction. If you just keep doing stuff, then you can't focus on the problems. Or if you stay busy and you keep doing things, then people aren't going to notice the cracks, maybe. And then they had the line of, it was Guyan's line of, you can't be perfect all the time. Great line of, sometimes you need to just mess up and make mistakes and try things and have it not work out and learn from that. And I think that's a big part of what they're talking about in this album. Again, I've only heard a couple of songs, but they seem to be playing around with a lot of cool things and diverging a bit from their previous sound, experimenting more with this, especially since it's the start of a new era for them in terms of storylines and stuff like that, that it feels like they are saying, we're going to play with different things and try different things out, and that means that it's not going to be perfect. It's not going to be polished. There's going to be things in it that not everyone is going to like. And I think especially with some of their more recent stuff, like Villains stuff, there were lots of people who were like, that wasn't their cup of tea, right? They heard OOTD and they were like, not my thing, right? And then other people, like myself, love that song. I listen to that song all the time. I get it stuck in my head. But it wasn't for everyone. It was definitely diverting from things that they had done before. And that means that it's not going to be for everyone, and it's not going to be this perfectly constructed piece of art that everyone is going to adore and understand the meaning behind, right? So it's pushing that into a more accessible narrative of it's okay to not be perfect and to sometimes make mistakes or need to try things out and try a few times before you get to where you need to be. And that's okay. Also, Gahyun's voice. Oh, thank you, Dami. Cute. I feel like Dami's about to come in. Second verse. Someone's coming for me. Love that idea. Okay, one, Dami told me that I was doing great. Thank you. I need that sometimes. And second, I like this idea of bewitching yourself, like putting a spell on yourself, and then they have the like they have that almost like spell, right? Needless worries only torment you. Love that too. A lot of the time, the reason that we construct personas or we feel like we have like this perfectionism is because of our anxiety. And our anxiety likes to tell us about 1,000 different scenarios of how things could go horrifically wrong. Never tell me to think of the worst case scenario. I will think of the worst case scenario, okay? I will go so dark if you tell me to do that. It's not a good way to help me with my anxiety. But a lot of the times it's baseless. You know that on some kind of intellectual level. You understand that you are worrying about something that is very unlikely to actually happen. But at the same time, it is difficult to turn off that part of your brain. Sometimes I just start shaking and I'm just super anxious and worried. And it's not towards anything. I'm not doing anything. I'm just like casually living my life. And my body is like, but what if we panicked? And it is needless. There's nothing behind it. And it does just like torment you. I say this all the time to myself a lot and to other people with anxiety that, you know, you can sit there and you could think of all the different ways that something could go terribly wrong, or you can try and it'll go wrong once, like worst case, it'll go wrong once, or you can have it go wrong 1,000 times in your head. Isn't it so much better to just do the thing and have there be a chance that it will go well, but also even if it doesn't go well, it's only going to happen once and then you'll know and you don't have to worry about it anymore. It doesn't have to be in your head, right? And it's something that I definitely have to remind myself of because I get too much in my head a lot. So I love that the tension here being like disappear, something that you're getting rid of. But also I think that it's interesting to have tension as the title for the song because it does, I feel like, immediately put people at edge. And that's the point of it is in and of itself a needless worry. Me going, I'm like, oh, the song is called Tension. That makes me a little bit worried, but we're going into. But that's not the basis of the song, right? It's an interesting way to incorporate that into that. I also love the little it's cute. Oh my gosh, it's not Dami. Oof, beautiful. Okay, stop now. What it was Dami in the second verse? They really are trying something new. I'm not ready for it. It's like I was so ready, and you blindsided me with Sua of all people. I love the line of, I feel like this just cements it, of don't overthink it. What was the Sua line? Oh, numerous plans are holding you back. That's like exactly what I was talking about, like the anxiety of you can think through all of the scenarios, you can think through 1,000 of them, and it'll leave you doing nothing because you're too busy thinking of all of the ways that things could go wrong or how you can plan for different outcomes. I feel like I need to save this song just for those moments when I'm like going through it, because I do on a regular basis. I had it earlier today where I was like, I'm gonna go for a little walk and get myself a treat, right? And then I was like, where will I go? I could go here, I could go to this place, I could go to that place. We've never been to that place before, but this is the place that we've been to before. We know that things are good. And then we could go to this place, or should we go to this place? Or should we not go at all? But or should we just like, should we walk to a park instead? And my brain was just going off on me. And then I was like, you know what? We're just gonna go with the first thing we thought of. We're gonna go for a walk, and we're gonna go to the first place that we thought of to go and get ourselves a treat. And then I did, and it wasn't that big of a deal. But I had to go through that whole process of overwhelming myself, overthinking things, because there was like too many plans or too many options for what I could be doing. And because of that, nothing gets done, right? Like it's holding you back to have all of those anxieties and all of those different outcomes piling up on you. Love the drums in this too. Jio's voice there. Sorry for a second, that wasn't Xian. It was though. No, you cannot have Gahyun belting her way through the song, cut out a bunch of the production, and have Jio singing. I will not allow this, okay? You were trying to comfort me with these lyrics and these words. Don't attack me. Don't attack me partway through. I'm going to talk about some instrumentation though. They had the line of don't stop bet everything, and I love how there's so much forward momentum in the chorus of this. It very much feels like running, and I think of running like recklessly, you know, like just like getting out that energy. And I think, you know, I was saying like sometimes when my anxiety is acting up, my body just shakes. Like there's too much inside of me. I usually end up doing like a bunch of chores, like cleaning my whole house, because I'm just like, I need some outlet for this like anxious energy that I have. And a great way to get that energy out is to just like, run. Even me going out for a walk today, it was just like, I need to get energy out of me. I don't know what to do with all of it building up in me. And I love that the chorus itself has this feeling of running, but almost in this reckless way of not thinking about where you're going, not having a destination particularly in mind, not making decisions, just going. What happens will happen, and it's not that big of a deal most of the time. I have to remind myself of that all the time. Most of the time, it's not life or death. It's not a big decision. It does not matter in the grand scheme of things. I probably won't even remember this decision in a few hours, let alone a few days. I'll have object permanence, okay? I won't remember what I did, so it's okay. It doesn't have to be this whole thing of going through all of these anxious, overwhelming thoughts to the point that you end up standing still, right? And I think of the one line of time flowing busily around you is, again, like I was saying before, like how about you've constructed this persona that is a protection, like the perfectionism of it, and time is still flowing around you, even though, because if something is perfect, it can't be changed, right? If it changes, then it ceases to be perfect anymore. You're frozen while everything's happening around you. But it could also be that you're too busy thinking through everything that time is passing you by. You're not doing all the things that you want to be doing. You're not progressing in the way that you want to, becoming the person that you want to, because you're so overwhelmed by the anxiety of it that you don't make a decision. You never take a step forward because you're too worried about what that step might mean. One step isn't going to make you magically in some other place. It's not going to turn you down some awful path. Like, it's a single step. It's not going to be something that takes you in a totally wrong direction. And it can feel super overwhelming to start that momentum though. Like that first step is like the most difficult challenge of starting on something, but it is also probably the most inconsequential in terms of the outcome of that thing, right? Like the only way that it's like super important is that it means that you might actually get to an outcome, but that's like the only significant thing about it. Like Just because you start learning a skill or you start a project or you start on a career path or an education path, one step in that direction doesn't mean that you can't shift direction, that you're stuck with whatever path you're on, or that whatever that one step is the be all and end all of how you're going to progress, right? So it's just interesting. I'm gonna have to save this for next time I need a pep talk. The chills that just went through my whole body. Miss Xian. Also, all I'm saying, if Gio ever wrote a lullaby, like an actual lullaby, if she just recorded some lullabies, I would listen to it every night. It would be enough to lull me to sleep, honestly. I'd pay for it. I'm just saying, if she needs ideas, if she has some free time, that might be an option. But she didn't let it slide up. She just went for it. It's like super pingy too. Lots of forward placement to just get that really nice like rock sound into it. From this really light, gorgeous sound. Oof, beautifully done. Just trust me, oh trust me. I have to go back. What? Why? Why are you okay, we had Gahyun, then Jiu. Gorgeous, beautiful, ethereal vocals. Then we had some nice, beautiful vocals from Xian, and then she gave us that note. And then they cut everything back again after that build-up to Yuhyun. And then you're gonna throw in like Sua into this just to come at me again? Again, you were giving me a pep talk, not attacking me. Thank you very much. We'll listen to it again though. Just trust me, oh trust me. 네가 가진 모든 걸 다 건너면 그래 걱정은 널 괴롭힐 뿐 사라져버린 tension. You don't have to worry 널 위한 주문을 걸어. Aww. Cute. They're like all cast a charm. Oh, okay. I really liked that. I will say one thing. Okay, two. Still it feels weird that there's only 6. It makes me terribly uncomfortable in a way that I cannot fully describe. Second, I did not get a Dami verse. What's up with that? She did tell me I was doing great. I know it attacks me every time. I would have taken some wonderful vocals. Just like her having one, because she's such a light, breathy voice when she's singing that I feel like it could have fit into some nice moments in this. I don't know what's happening behind the scenes to dictate that, but it was a gorgeous song overall. I feel like I'm gonna have to save it because I'm gonna be down an anxiety thought spiral at some point, maybe in the course of this album, depending on how this goes. And I'm gonna need a pep talk of them telling me that I'm doing a good job and that I can do this and that they're going to cast a charm for me, just personally. But I think it's really interesting to have Scream, which is them staking their claim of we're going to be doing something off kilter and outside the box, and don't make me like scream to be heard, scream to be able to have that release of that energy, and then to have a song that is very comforting and feels like they are talking to their fans and saying it's okay to do things and to take chances and risks and to bet everything. I'm going to be here. I'm going to support you. Other people in the fandom are going to support you. There are people out there that are going to help and support you and be supportive of what you're doing. And it's okay to take that chance because it's so much better to just take the chance and have the possibility of a wonderful outcome to get to the place that you actually want to be than to stay stuck and have time pass you by, right? I think it's interesting to have them staking their claim and then immediately being like comforting their fans to follow in those footsteps or to give encouragement for others to try a similar thing. But there's 2 voices missing from this song. I know that Dami had the girl little parts in it, but it's just, imagine Handong on this. Is there a version of Handong on this? Because she would sound so good. Anyway, we gotta move on to the next song. We got a special clip and everything. I know there's a special clip for this. Everybody calm down. We're gonna get to it. But there aren't any captions on it, and I want to know what they're talking about. So we're gonna check out this lyric video first, and then right afterwards, we're gonna do the special clip, okay? Everyone good? Everyone taking a deep breath? It's probably for the best because I'm pretty sure in the special clip, there's choreo, and I'm pretty sure that Sua is involved, and I really don't think I would be paying attention to the song. I feel like the song might miss me a little bit, given that. We will get to it right after this, but we're gonna hear the song first, read the lyrics, hear everything, and then we will check out the special clip right after, okay? I knew I wasn't gonna be able to tell how long this reaction would be. We're just gonna roll with it though. Oh. Ooh, what instrument is that? It makes me think of a haunted castle. No, no, I'm out. I'm actually overwhelmed enough that I'm tearing up. Yeah, it's good. It's good that we separated these. It's good that we're hearing the song and then seeing them perform the song. Good choice, good choice. I feel like fate had my back there. Okay, what this instrument that's playing, setting up this almost like haunted castle feeling to it. The way that they had like this like whoosh feeling building up into the lyrics actually starting, the cadences that they're choosing, super interesting. We have all these little sounds in the back that I think are them. Did Sua giggle at me? What's happening? Did I enter your haunted castle? Are we vampires? What's happening? I don't... Okay. I'm very nervous now. Okay, I'm just thinking, what, broom up or whatever that she said? Makes me think of witches, witchcraft. We had in the last one, bewitch yourself and I'll cast a charm for you, right? Is that what, we had some stuff in the Scream music video too. They had the cloaked figures and it felt like they were in different, almost like times or dimensions or whatever. I need Dami to not comment that strong, okay? I know I was saying I was missing her in the last track and I was, but a little warning, especially right after Sula giggled. I don't know who it was, but someone giggled at me. And I don't know what's happening. I do like this idea of like telling the moon to rest and we like red sun. So them saying like, just the way I tell it to or whatever, like this idea of controlling time, perhaps controlling the weather, because I think time of obviously there's nighttime and there's daytime. Interesting that a lot of the imagery up to this point has been in the nighttime, has been darkness, has been dreamscapes and stuff. And then having this one be focusing on, okay, now it's going to be focused on daylight instead. No, I know I'm stopping right before the drop. I need a second. Gahyun on this album. Am I wrong? Or does she sound absolutely fantastic? She's always been good. I feel like she hasn't gotten the lines that she deserves all the time, but there's something in her voice on this that is making me malfunction. Maybe I'm just having a moment. Maybe Gahyun is just properly coming for me. Entirely possible. Because we've entered into rap Gahyun era, right? That I've just, I still can't recover from, okay? Damien will forever have taken me out. Her on that song. It's a Roman Empire for me at this point. So many things happening. The way that the instrumentation changed here, again, playing with space in between the different parts. I love their voices on this. There's something ethereal to it, but playful, especially in the way that they're playing with their voice. It's a very pure tone. There's not a ton of breathiness in it. And they're playing with these off-kilter vocal melodies. I don't know what's happening. I don't know what's going on, especially going into that drop. No, I'm gonna actually malfunction. Okay, Okay, fine. It's fine. Gio's voice there. I was just saying how they had like a very pure tone, not a lot of breathiness, and then Gio came in and she was like, bet. The like pauses, snaps, oh my gosh, the choreo for this, good god. I'm not okay. Scream was enough. You guys saw it, okay? It was an hour of recorded footage, single song, and I only got it edited down to like 45 minutes, okay? This song's like a reprisal. How I'm feeling. What is happening? I know I'm pausing a lot. I just need a minute. Why did Yoohyun come in with her rich chest tone, the darker sound to her voice? She knows that I love that. I know I wasn't listening to them when this came out. I get that. I had already heard them technically because Déjà Vu was the first song that I heard from them all the way back when it first came out. Technically, I didn't know about them when this came out. I just wasn't actively listening to them. So I feel like something, she could sense it. I don't even know what my thought was. I'm supposed to be analyzing this. And my brain is just like, you just comforted me. You just had a whole song telling me that I can do hard things and she will help me through it. Why are you giving me a challenge right away? Okay, so we have the mist. We had lots of mist imagery in previous songs. I think it's also interesting with this almost witch magic energy as well. They're doing so many things. Like we have this very like steady, almost like mixed, lots of closure in their vocal cords, sound with their vocals. And then we had this very airy, breathy sound in, I'm assuming the chorus, because they keep doing different things, so I don't know. And then having the next part come in with Yehyun with this gorgeous full chest, dark tone to her voice. Lots of wonderful agility from everyone at this point with these little vocal runs and vibrato as well. I'm malfunctioning. Thank God we've separated this out. If I had gone straight in to the special clip, because I do not trust this choreo. No, ma'am. Not to something like this. They like walk up in the production too. Miss Sheehan. Okay, I tried to let it go there for a little bit. I think it's interesting that they are playing off of a lot of the lyricism I feel like was in tension, because we have like, traps before they said breaking out, escaping, we'd break the wall, and now they say that there's a wall in front of you that you can't break through, that you can't escape. Sheehan's line of you're like trapped and I laugh or whatever has this feeling of spider's web, which I feel like I've talked before. I'm like, it feels like spider's web is like this intricately woven tapestry artwork in a way. It is this very intentionally constructed woven construction that has a very specific purpose, and there is a certain beauty to the way that it is woven together, but at the same time it's a trap. It's to trap you. Its purpose is to catch food, right? So if you find yourself in a spider's web, you're in danger, which is interesting. I don't really know where, am I connecting any thoughts? Is anything making sense? I don't know. I'm overwhelmed. I'm malfunctioning. I know people warned me about this one, so my fault. This is why we broke up the album into parts though, because I need a break. I need a break. Okay. I Will Leave You is also like ominous. You struggle, I want to laugh. Production's freaking me out. Okay. I was just thinking about how we had these very intense drums, but they have very light voices. Interesting. Love how we had Jio coming in there with more of like a belting to her voice, because I feel like she does have a very naturally, like very light, breathy voice, but she does have that power, and I love giving her that moment. We had it with Gahyun too, where like she's belting her way through this album a little bit too, and I'm like, yes, give her that moment, give her that spotlight, because she can do it and she deserves it. Also, this idea of like, shivering, again, the I won't leave you feels ominous. You had a line of I'll lead you back to the beginning or the start, which is interesting in that it feels being in a trap and almost hypnotized by it, but also I think of the beginning of Dreamcatcher, where they were also the spirits almost as the nightmares haunting the manor, and how a big part of that as a storyline of that was that there is a certain allure to things that we know that frighten us. There's a certain beauty in the macabre, right? And I feel like they're also playing into that. I had another thought at some point in there. I'm trying so hard, guys. I hope that you understand. Yeah, it's gone. I may think of it at some point. Man. The circling is very like predatory too. Strings. The warped voice there too. Like they have their voice, and then you have this warped layer of the voice as well. That juxtaposition between this obviously very beautiful vocals from them, and then having this more warped, darker, more sinister sound mixed in with it. I am wondering with the Red Sun. I feel like at some point someone explained something to me, or they were like, keep that thought for when you get to Red Sun, and I don't think I kept it. There was at some point I was playing off of the fact that they were talking about the color red and what red can mean, because it can be like passion, love, it can also be anger associated with like blood, lust. Like there are lots of positive and negative things associated with red. Thinking of Red Sun's like a dying star, isn't it? I should know this. I'm an astronomy nerd. In my defense, I prefer physics. I want to talk about quantum mechanics and entanglement and stuff. But red suns are dying stars, right? Yeah, so last phase, the sun, which is interesting because that's, I think, when they burn the hottest, and obviously they're a dying star. So it's almost like being drawn to something that is going to burn hot, but not for very long. Adding into that imagery of being lured into a trap, being lured into a spider's web, not realizing the danger you're fully in until it's too late. Maybe? I don't know. That's my guess. I know there are also some red sun imagery in East Asian cultures and stuff, so I could definitely be missing something, but I'm going immediately to science, and that is my guess. And given the kind of emotional and mental turmoil I just went through, I think the fact that I could have any kind of thought is worth praising, okay? Oh, this album. I know I like their new stuff. I listen to it all the time. I feel like I listen to Alone in the City so much. It's a problem how much I listen to the album, but it's only gotten worse with each album. I feel like that was the moment when I was like, oh no, this is gonna be like an obsessive, I need to listen to them every day kind of thing. And I feel like with every release I get to now, this is it, isn't it? It doesn't get better. Okay, I guess we're checking out the special clip. I'm so nervous now because they're gonna come for me. God. Okay, fine, but pray for me. Have I been recording for almost an hour? Oh my God. Y'all, this is it. It's only gonna get worse, okay? Apparently this is what we do now. Be prepared for a full-length feature film every time that I release a Dreamcatcher reaction, apparently. Because we still have a special clip and another song to get to. I'm so sorry to future me who's gonna have to edit this. Thanks for sticking around. I hope you had snacks. Let's do this. Good lord. No. No. Dami, man. Oh, it's just like a little intro. You just had to like put me out of my misery immediately? Ma'am. Oh, I love how she's copying the movement. That's a cool image too. I don't think I need to give an explanation for why that was unacceptable. Dami, ma'am, just hang. I need Totoro. Just give me 2 seconds. I need the emotional support. I need like a physical barrier between like my body and them right now. Okay, just fine. Gotcha. These outfits too. Ooh. For real, I don't know who's giggling at me, but I'm not going to recover. I don't know what to do anymore. I don't know what. I've gotten to a point, not only in their music, that it is all spectacular. And I feel, again, it's not going to get better, right? This is only going to get more difficult as we progress through their journey as musicians. But it's also, I've gotten to the point in my journey as a fan that this is difficult for me. Okay, I care about them so much. I love them so much that this is like 1,000 times more difficult than it would have been earlier on in me getting into their music. You understand? I need Dami to not do that chest movement with her voice sounding like that, making those facial expressions. Already in my bias line, she does not need to come for me like that. Thank you. Did she just wipe her hands clean of me, ma'am? No. Xian, ma'am. Okay, no, these like I love a hand detail, but these casting spells, but it's such a small, controlled movement. The confidence that it takes in that, so interesting to like wind down the movements to that. I need Gahyun to be less charismatic. Thank you. Xian, ma'am. Unacceptable behavior. All round, honestly, I feel like everyone should be on timeout. I'm trying to pay attention to the actual dancing and like the symbolism of it. I love a lot of one of them will do a move and the rest of them will copy it. Again, like casting spells, charming people is really interesting. We've got some camera movement, so I can't fully deconstruct it. But if there's a dance practice, and I think that there is, I'm gonna put it on my list because their choreos are always fantastic. I need to get back into doing more of their dance practices because they're always good. Who was the chest isolations I was thinking of? Ma'am. No. Okay. Fine. Sure. No. No. You can't have Suwa dancing like that and then be like, Yuhyun's part. I just... Maybe I don't want to check out a dance practice. Maybe I don't. I understand that they're going to the whole like charmed thing, almost like someone being like seduced by magic and doing things against their will. Again, in parts of the choreo where someone will start an action, the rest of them will follow. That idea of doing something against your will and it feels instinctual, but actually you're being controlled. I'm too queer for this choreo. I'm very glad that I separated them. Very happy with that because I'd be on my floor. I wouldn't have survived. Miss Suo. Oof, good canon. Xian. Why are we on the floor? I was joking about me being on the floor. Why are you getting on the floor? We're not even halfway through this. Okay, Xian's facial expressions. Excellent. It's a little bit unhinged, and I feel like it fits into the fact that the song is progressively getting darker as we go through. It breaks in the illusion, the charm, but it's too late. You're already trapped in the web. Why are we on the floor? Why? Okay, I have a few things. No. I can't escape it. Okay, it's fine. One, I feel personally attacked that at least two of my bias line were doing the move on the floor. Gahyun is definitely a wrecker when she's performing. She has too much charisma. Love in her with Gahyun's line where she says morphing, right? Where they're all behind her and they have like all the arms. Interesting. Again, I think spider imagery with all the many legs of a spider, but also morphing, turning into something supernatural or multiplying in a way. The changing of the silhouette for that. Love all these little hand movements. We had Gio did a really nice hand movement with the spells. I had another thought at some point. Like it's just gonna be like this whole video where I'm like, I had more thoughts and then something happened and my brain was like, we don't need those. It's fine. What are your thoughts for? Right here, love that movement. Oh, the like almost like exorcism imagery that's there. No. No, don't look at me like that. I'm just rewinding because I feel like we might have missed something important. I want to take it all in and make sure that I see all of the work that they put in. Xian here though. Why the smirk? Oh, I love the slowdown. Ma'am, less charisma. I don't want to talk to you. Don't look, I'm already a Dami bias since day one. I need her to back up and leave me alone. Why the smirk? I'm gonna be thinking about this performance for a long time. If anyone wants to be like, why is Dami one of your biases? I'm gonna be like, here, this. What do you mean, why? She knows. Ooh, love the ticking motion. Stop smiling at me like that. Okay, I was just gonna say how I like the giant, like the big movements to go those big drum sounds, and then we got some more chest isolations. Sua, I'm already going through a crisis. I need everyone to leave me alone. We have a minute left. I need Xian to stop smiling like that, like this like slightly crazed look, like she knows that we're under her spell, like she's already succeeded, and this is all just like to complete the charm, right? I need Sua to stop, like just all of it. Fine, it's fine. Don't you smile at me too. Oh my god. Ma'am. I'm not even talking about you. Ooh, interesting that Xian had a different move there. Well, there's more stuff. Is there outtakes? Okay, if you're gonna give me like cute outtakes, this is a different thing. I just need a second. I just need a second to have thoughts. Okay, I love the ticking movements. I love that we had almost like some ragdoll arms at one point. I like that we have them like doing different movements and almost like controlling movements at certain points. I love how they all spun when they were opposite the circle and ended with them all holding hands, because that feels very much like casting a spell, right? Casting circles. Also reminiscent of Chase Me, when there's one point where they're all circled up with the candles and Dami, I think, is in the middle. So interesting that we had lines about like circling people, but also we had lines of like, I'll take you back to the beginning or whatever. I don't know what to do. I feel simultaneously the need to watch it over again multiple times for science. I want to make sure that I see all the hard work that they've put in. Times 6. I don't think I'll recover. I'm shaking. Are these going to be cute outtakes? Is it going to be credits? What's about to happen? Thank you for giving me cute outtakes. I need it. I need the recovery. Careful. Oh. Like, could they just keep going? Because you might get a shot at reset. You're gonna edit all together anyway. Thank you for giving me cute outtakes. I needed it. I needed the buffer because we got one more song. I simultaneously feel as if I need to watch not only the dance practice, but any kind of performance of that song that they have ever done for appreciation purposes and science, and to make sure I don't miss anything. And also as if I could never, ever watch this performance ever again. I feel like I will not recover going through it again. I don't feel like I've recovered now. You guys can't see like how much I am like gripping Totoro dear life. I don't know what to do with myself. How does one move on from Red Sun? How do you just continue? We have Black or White. I've heard so many things about this one. Oh my god. I'm so happy I didn't try to just back it back. I don't even want to know how long I'm gonna be recording for. I don't want to think about it. Okay, we're move on. Can you see the pure worry in my face? What I know about Black or White is that there's a dingo performance, which automatically makes me worried. And they have the suits and the brimmed hats. It makes me nervous. Okay, I'm already shaken. I've malfunctioned. I don't know if I'll have any coherent thoughts at any point during this song, because I don't know if I think I'm beyond it. I just want to survive. I have one more song, right? Okay, I still have Totoro with me. I feel like I need the support. Oh dear god. That's very Michael Jackson sounding guitar. Okay, I knew with Black or White, I'm like, probably an MJ reference, especially since they have the brimmed hats in the thumbnail. I saw the performances. Very Beat It. It sounds like that. I don't know MJ's music super well. I know a lot of the big hits, but it wasn't music that I listened to a whole lot. But I'm pretty sure that's Beat It that it's reminiscent of, to the point where I didn't even read the first line, which is why I'm going back. The first line, the lyrics did not register with me at all, because I was just like, oh no, okay, we're doing rock and roll. We had I Don't Fit Into Your Ideal. Lots of back and forth in this, all the way back with Scream I think of Scream and Red Sun being this almost like seduction, this I'll charm you, I'll enchant you, I'll lure you into my web and you won't realize what's happening until it's too late. And then you have tension, which is about encouraging people to do a similar thing or to follow in their footsteps. And then this feels almost like again, this staking your claim, this I'm not going to be what you wanted me to be. I'm not going to be the ideal that you have in your head, but that doesn't mean I'm not wonderful. That doesn't mean that I'm not great. That doesn't mean that you aren't also going to be charmed by me. Oh, and we had the like marching drums in it as well, which is really cool. Excited to see what they might do with choreo when I check out some performances, because we will be doing performances, which we might end up doing stuff on Patreon, because that's where lives usually go, because I don't have time to fight with KBS and Mnet, so they end up over on Patreon. But I feel like they might do some fun things with formations if you have that marching band music in it. Gosh, my brain is muddled after everything that's happened. I'm gonna try and zero in. The drum pad though. Interesting that we have laughter repeating too. We just went ethereal. I know I'm stopping right before the drop, but I need to take a second. I like that if the correct answer isn't an option, I cannot choose. Interesting. This idea of like, if you're going to offer me a bunch of choices that do not fit with who I am, I'm not going to choose them. I'm not going to play into this restraint that you've put before me of this or that, because I'm actually over here. I'm like option C. I'm not going to make that decision just because you're trying to restrain what I'm choosing. And then maybe within your head the scenario is already over. It's very interesting, especially since we had tension where they were talking about playing multiple scenarios in your head and that being a very negative thing fueled by anxiety, but then also coming up to someone who has already decided everything about you and they already understand the outcome in their heads, right? Like they've already decided exactly who you are, what box you fit into. And because of that, they're not willing to actually see what you are and what you can accomplish. And I think for them doing like rock music from a small company, re-debuting, being honestly just being women in music, they're going to have certain expectations put on them. And I know that in Korean music, rock music especially has a very specific connotation towards it. And people have a specific idea about what a rock group is going to be. And because of that, they can see them and already decide who they're going to be, the kinds of people that they are, the kinds of music that they're going to have, the performances that they're going to do. And a girl group, if we think all the way back to Mink stuff, which I have not heard a lot of, but that fit a lot more into the mold of what a girl group should be in Korean music. So they see a group of girls and they're like, I know what that sound's going to be. And then when they don't fit into those expectations, people get upset because they have made the wrong assumption. I know that I've had that where people in my comments are like, I assumed this about you and that's wrong. And how dare you not be part of my expectation? And I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't fit into your expectation. I didn't know you had that expectation of me, right? So it's a very similar thing with that of when people have already decided who you are and the checklist that is supposed to be associated with that kind of person. And when you don't follow it, they can get really upset. And it's not your fault that you don't fit into their mold. You didn't know that their mold was there, right? You're out here being a person who is very multifaceted with contradictions, who's constantly changing and growing and experiencing things. And that means that you're not gonna check off all the stereotypical boxes of what someone expects of you. We're going into the drop though. We completely switched up the sound, which I think is very interesting too, breaking the expectation of a rock song. And then they go into this very ethereal sounding pre-chorus. I need a drink. I've been talking so much. We've been here for a while. Okay. Ooh, it's funky. No, Dami, pause. You were already on timeout. Love how funky this is. Love how we have the black or white. I was thinking before, I was like the line of if the right answer is an option, I can't choose. I won't choose. And I was saying this or that. And I was like black or white. I was like this option or this option. And it's what if I'm neither? What if I'm the third option? So interesting to have that in there too, of them saying I'm not going to choose between those, but also black or white in terms of we usually think of black or white being good or bad, right? A binary there, this is right, this is wrong. You are either on one side or the other. And them saying or nuance or multiple options, or I'm going to do a few different things. And even them in this, we have a lot of rock sounds, again, like MJ feeling at the beginning, and that being more of a older music style, and then having this ethereal pre-chorus and then really funky in the chorus. It's 3 songs that have already happened in like the first minute, and it's 3, not 2, not this or that, all of the above, and we're gonna make it work, right? Because it's okay to break out of those molds, to not fit within a binary of black or white, good or bad, this or that, right? Which is just super interesting. Even with them saying, are they like a rock group? Yes. But that doesn't mean that they don't have gorgeous ballads, but that doesn't mean that they don't have fun poppy songs, but it doesn't mean that they don't delve into other kinds of music, that they aren't multifaceted musicians. Even just having Dami doing rap verses is in and of itself like playing off of different expectations, right? Like, I know that in a lot of Korean music, having rap verses is like a normal thing, having rap lines and stuff. But in rock music, there's like a very specific time period where there was a lot of rock music that had like rap verses incorporated into it. But I feel like Linkin Park is the only one that like really did it, in my opinion. You're free to correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think I am, but I may be forgetting someone, but I feel like that's like the main one that could really do that. So a lot of the time when you think like rock music, you're not thinking that like a rap verse is going to be in it. Anyway, it's just like playing off of like genre and expectations and mixing everything together and doing it very well, because you can do that. It doesn't have to be one thing. You can do lots of different things. You can be lots of different kinds of musicians or performers or just like people. You can like lots of different things. You can have lots of different interests. You can be contradictory and a paradox walking around your life, because people are complex. And like I said, they're constantly changing. So things are gonna happen where it's, I don't know, it doesn't make sense, but here we are. I love how funky it is though. The bass. I love that I don't have the answer you want. I love how they have the strings here too. See, even that, I'm gonna mix it up, just different, not wrong. Love it. Ooh. I like that you say newness is wrong and a problem. I love that because it's true. People don't like change. People don't like new things. When new things get introduced, everyone gets upset. And they want things to be in their box, in their expectations, the things that they're comfortable with. And just because something is new doesn't mean it's wrong. I feel like a lot of the time you're given something new and people immediately are like, I don't like that. And you're like, why? And they're like, I don't like it because it's new. I don't know what it is. And you're like, that doesn't mean that it's wrong or it's bad. That just means you don't know it yet, right? And I feel like being an English speaking person, talking to lots of other English speaking people who happen to like K-pop and Korean music, I think we all understand what it means to be like, here's this new thing that I want to show you that I like. It is very good. And have people go, no, I don't like that. And you're like, but you haven't listened to it. You haven't tried it. And they're like, no, it's bad. I don't like it. It's wrong. We've all had that, right? Especially, I feel like it's probably a little bit different now. But as someone who was listening to stuff long before I started reacting to stuff on my channel, I listen to second gen groups for a reason. I've been here for a while. I know what it was like for people to just be like, who? What's K-pop? What's happening? So I was there before it was like playing on like radios and stuff like that, it's so frustrating to be like, hey, listen to this thing or experience this thing that I like and that I know is good. And maybe it's not everyone's cup of tea, but you can at least have the decency to try it. You can at least have the decency to listen to the song and actually listen, because I feel like a lot of people will just already decide that they don't like it and not even really listen to it because they've already decided. And it's not just Korean music, it's lots of different kinds of music. This idea of just because something is new doesn't mean it's wrong, doesn't mean it's a problem, doesn't mean it's bad. And everything that started off new eventually became the norm. Even going to, the MJ references that we had, there were definitely people who were just like, MJ joined in and was like, here's a new thing. And people were like, nope, don't like that. Don't want that around. And now he's Michael Jackson, right? Elvis Presley. You know how many people were against Elvis Presley? So many. He was like the musician that everyone was like, we can't have our children listening to that Elvis Presley. It'll do awful things to them. And now he's Elvis Presley. He's one music that our grandparents listened to. It's so normal to have listened to an Elvis song, and it's not at all controversial in any way. And it is also the kind of music you like listen to it. You're like, that is like a super normal kind of music to listen to. But at the time, no. It's eventually people get used to the new and it becomes something that they're willing to listen to. And the trick is just, if you're the first one, you have to sell it, right? You have to convince people to actually give it a chance, and that can be a barrier in and of itself. I rambled there a little bit. I feel very passionately about this, okay? When Dami speaks, I listen. Oof, a vocal run there. Gahyun on this album. Okay, I will say I also love that in that the chorus, because it has this very funk inspired sound to it, obviously, but then you have those much higher string section over top of it, which very much contrasts with this funky bass that's going on. And I find that's really interesting too, the juxtaposition of those two things. Really cool to have like all of this stuff mixed together. Such a understanding and appreciation of music and how it can intertwine with each other, because it's not jarring, which is fascinating to me. The fact that not only are they able to have their voices go between these different modes throughout the song, fitting into these different genres, but also the production. I always go on about the production, okay? I don't know if I'll pronounce his name right. I know the producer's name, but I don't know if I'll pronounce it right. Oh, Launder? I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, but I know that he's worked on a bunch of their production. And it's Lee's? I don't know at what point he stopped, because I know that he went on to do production with other people, but I love their production team and the fact that they're able to mix in all of these different genres and different kinds of music and even have them overlapping at the same time and not have it be jarring and not have it feel weird and have it all fit together. It's just like, it just shows how talented they are. And I love that they're all coming together to create all of these super cool mashups of these different elements and really not staying in their like a lane, right? Sue on this album too. Her voice. I just need a second for appreciation. I love, okay, Sua's voice on this album too. Excellent, superb, showing lots of different kinds of elements of her voice, which I love. I love how we progressively went like more and more closure, and Xian just like, approaching those vocalizations at the beginning of the phrase in a much more closed way with her vocal cords to just get a little more oomph to it as she projected the song forward, the momentum of it. Love the light voices that we had from like all three lining up to Xian's part as well. The number of times I had shivers listening to just the first part of this album is uncountable. I couldn't even tell you. I feel like I'm just like shaking the whole time. Ooh, that's fun. Hang on, I interrupted Xian. Go again. Oof. Okay. Go off, Sua. Ooh. I hear those vocals back. You can. I don't even know. I don't anymore. Loved it. I loved the right answer doesn't matter was one of the lines, because it's almost like the arbitrary nature of it. The fact that there is no right answer, right? Not black or white. There is no right and wrong. There isn't a right answer or a wrong answer. There's just a different answer, and different and new doesn't make it wrong. Bass, amazing. Percussion, amazing. I'm absolutely in love. All of their voices, the way that they were going from those light, airy voices to the more rock sounds near the beginning to fitting into the funk sound. And even we had Dami with the rap part, Yuhyun with all of the ad-lib stuff in the back there. All of them sounded gorgeous. I need a version of this with Handong. I don't know if I'll survive Red Sun with her, but I need her on this. There's so many points where I'm like, her voice would sound so good on this. I'm just like, I miss her. I miss her a lot. And we're gonna have to do some extra stuff, like some of her covers and what have you, so that I can hear her voice, because I miss her a lot. I don't think I'm a person anymore. I don't know what to do. I'm like, how does one listen to the whole album in one sitting because they are stronger than I am. I am not the strongest soldier, clearly. Yeah, I don't know if I can brain anymore or person. I'm both happy that I've separated this album out because, for one thing, in my Scream reaction, someone was like, hey, looking forward to the 3-hour The Tree of Language reaction. I was like, haha, yeah, jokes, exaggeration. I've already been recording for an hour and a half, so if the next part is also an hour and a half, they may have been onto something with that prediction. I am in a way happy that I've separated it out for the sake of time and also editing. Also, I don't know if I could process another song and really have coherent things to say other than just suffering, which may have its own entertainment value. But at the same time, I feel like I need to listen to the rest because I need to be able to have this whole album on repeat for the rest of eternity. So I don't really know what to do with that crisis that I'm currently in. I feel like I need to see everything that is involved with Red Sun. I don't care what it is. So let me know all of that. I'll watch it. If I have to watch it like 100 times in different like performances and versions and what have you. That just it has to be done, right? I usually try to have a thought of like, how do I string all of this together? And I feel like I may have some kind of out for that since I technically haven't finished the album. I don't need to summarize everything into the coherent overarching story because I don't have the whole story yet. But I feel like the main parts of it are this juxtaposition of expectations, breaking molds, breaking masks, not fitting into molds that people have enforced on you. And I think also the fact that they're like switching up the way that they are presenting themselves from song to song. Like I feel like Scream very much was like a war cry of putting your flag in the ground, staking your ground and like holding it and demanding that people let you have that space. And then Tension was about being like encouraging and comforting and showing people that they can do the same thing, right? Saying, I will hold your hand through this. I will cast a charm for you, bringing in that magic imagery and saying, you can do this too. This doesn't have to be scary. And then we have Red Sun, which is very much almost like the seduction of it. It feels almost like you won't know that you've fallen for them until it's too late, which I feel like I knew I loved them. I feel like I didn't fully comprehend what stage I was at until Red Sun. I didn't fully grasp how far down the rabbit hole I had tumbled. And I'm not even sure if I had any kind of coherent thought throughout it. I'm just replaying it in my head for probably a very long time. But playing into that idea of seduction and luring people in and them falling for your trap and they won't even know that they've been charmed until it's too late. And I think it kind of fits into some of the stuff with Black and White of they were talking about newness doesn't mean wrong, different isn't wrong. You have to be the first one to take the leap. You have to be the first one to try new things. And I feel like that's what Red Sun was getting into, is this idea that they're going to do something new and you're going to get charmed, get lured in, and then before you know it, everyone's copying them, right? Like we have that copying imagery in the choreography of people won't even know that they're copying people who have come before them that tried something new, that were outside of the box, that didn't fit into a mold. But now everyone does whatever it is that musician did before them, and they don't even comprehend the history of how people did not want to embrace that new thing. So I think that's a really interesting image to put in there. And then of course Black and White being this idea of there isn't right or wrong, there isn't black or white, there isn't this or that. Dami's first talked about like a middle lane that wasn't even visible. Like there's a path that you don't even understand, you don't even see there, but we see it and we're going to take that path, and that is going to be our decision, which isn't this or that. It isn't the one that you want. It isn't the right answer or the wrong answer. It's just different. It's a different path that we're going on, which is really interesting. And like the way that they mixed in a bunch of different genres into the song as well is really interesting. It wasn't just a rock song. It wasn't just a funk song. It wasn't just, like ballad. Like it was so many things mixed up into one, and it all worked together. It wasn't jarring. It wasn't like intentionally making people like having that genre shift that some songs have where you're very intentionally jarring people into a shift in genre. This was very much like a seamless switching between the two of them. It was a very gentle seed. Like all of it can be mixed together. It can be like a whole salad of music interests and sounds. And I don't know what that'll mean for the rest of the album. I don't know how that's going to continue that thread of maybe as we get closer to the end of the album, they will be trying even more different things. I know that Jazz Bar is coming up, which I'm very excited about as someone who just absolutely adores jazz. So it may be them just saying, okay, we we've introduced that we could do a bunch of different things, and that we've already said we're going to do something different. We've encouraged you to do the same thing. We've seduced you, and we've already said that we can do lots of different things and mix things together. So now let's try some other stuff that's new and falls outside of some of the stuff that they've done before. I don't know. That's my prediction for the next part of the album. I don't know if I'll survive. I'm gonna get myself a snack to comfort myself and maybe lay on the floor and contemplate my existence, because that's where I'm at. I hope you had a snack and a drink for all of this, because it's a long one, and we're gonna have another long one with part 2. Wish me luck with filming and editing all of that. So I hope you enjoyed listening to that along with me. You can click this playlist to go see my previous reactions, or you can subscribe to me next time I post a Dreamcatcher reaction. I will see you in the next video. Bye.